to the 31st episode of Directly to You. That's right, this is the 31st consecutive week of the YouTube podcast right here. YouTube.com/Directly to You, a fanatix4 podcast, which is the longest URL you will ever hear in your life. It's crazy. It's on Stitcher, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify now, and also Anchor. That's right, Anchor. We are partnering up with them for their listener support. You guys can support us by donating anywhere between $1 to $10. So anywhere between that sliding scale, you guys can do that and support the channel and support us. And speaking of support, that ties in perfectly to the first topic of the day, the state of third-party support for the Nintendo Switch. Justin, AJ, where's it at? Where's it at right now, guys?
It's terrible. We're not getting any games. They don't announce anything. We definitely didn't get an announcement today. And I'm definitely not playing a third-party game that's coming out relatively soon as we speak.
That's right.
Yeah.
So moving on.
I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, no, I love third-party games, so I'm super excited about this. It seems like support is ramping up, and if anything, all of the support that third party is giving is blowing past, I think, whatever expectations they're setting for themselves. Like AJ or Logan, we spoke about this just a little bit ago, but the servers for Dragon Ball FighterZ is just unable. You're unable to get on there, and I can't imagine it's anything.
When did you guys try? Because I tried when they were like, oh, it's midnight or whatever. I tried then, and it did not work. But I jumped on pretty seamlessly a couple of times throughout today. And it ran smoother than even the Xbox version does now.
It was pretty horrible this morning. It is fixed better now, but it's not necessarily a problem of, to me right now, the problem isn't server load as far as like the servers are crashing like it kind of was this morning, I think.
Right.
Now it's more of an issue of like they have like 7 rooms open and each room holds 64 people and they're like jam packed.
Yeah.
Like I would go to add myself to a room and 3 people would have joined and maxed it out, and the time between me clicking on it and it loading up.
Yeah.
So,
That's
generally
terrible.
what I do with that is I just go to a different region. Like I'll usually go to like Canada West Coast and just jump into there. And my rule of thumb is like if there's more than 40 people, it's probably full. Like it's probably full, even though it says that it's not.
Yeah.
And again, that's something that I've just learned through playing it on like Xbox.
True.
So yeah, I mean it's definitely like more popular than a lot of third parties would have like expected.
Yeah, they definitely underestimated the
the appeal of it, or the power behind it. And I feel like Octopath was a lot of that the same way. Like it continuously for the last couple of weeks has been selling out whatever Square Enix has been able to shove back in stores.
For sure.
And even Nintendo here in the US and Europe, who is doing their distribution there, they didn't even expect it to be selling this well. So I think a lot of third parties were hesitant, and over the last couple of months they've just been blowing past whatever expectation they had for it.
Right. And that, I think a lot of that is like owed to the difference of Switch. Like everything about it it has like a different air to it. Like all their other consoles, including even their handhelds, really just said like toy, So a lot of like quote unquote adults, that are like, I'm too adult for that, which is ironic because that's what kids do. Kids are like, that's a baby thing, but they're like, I'm too adult for that. But Switch it looks like like an Apple product, honestly. Like it looks like something that you would see in an Apple store. It's sleek. That's very un-Nintendo in the grand scheme of things. And I think that brought in a lot of different types of gamers, where it's not just the regular Nintendo affair. And I think that like in the past, third-party developers were right to be hesitant to develop for Switch, because it's like, not Switch, but Nintendo platforms, because the audience expects a certain type of thing, you know,
Right.
and it's not just like, oh well, let's just make a casual thing. Like that's not what the audience wants. They want a good like balance between the two, and I think Nintendo's really like amongst maybe a few, very few devs that could strike that balance that the Nintendo audience as a whole looks for.
Yeah, and I think this is the first system I can think of that does it that well in a long time. Like,
Right.
maybe SNES and NES in the past, but
Yeah, like how far along was that? You know, it's like so far few like between like where we are now.
yeah, like to me, the GameCube was technically it was a stronger system than it let off to be.
Yeah, it was.
definitely.
It
And
was
then the
middle
Wii
of the
was-
road. It was stronger than PlayStation 2, less powerful than Xbox.
Yeah, and then as far as Wii goes, Wii was the exact opposite of the spectrum. It was as casual as you can get.
Right. So basically, for me. I've always been in a weird place with Switch third-party support, right? Because everybody is like pessimistic on it, where it's like Nintendo is Nintendo. It's like they established this reputation in a lot of people's minds that's just how they always been. Where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, Nintendo never had third-party support, and it's like, wait, what?
That's not true.
Nintendo literally, and this isn't even exaggeration, they owned the market. Like nobody could go anywhere else. So it's like, to say that they never had third-party support is just like it's absurd.
Yeah, that's a bit ridiculous. I mean,
Yeah.
and
Honestly, it's really confined to just Wii U. Like even Wii, that would be categorically false to say that Wii didn't have third-party support.
Yeah, it had a lot of third-party
Definitely
support
did.
for the Wii.
Yeah.
There's a lot of games that the
so
Wii
the
had.
Wii's a little bit weird to me because the Wii is one of them, I think, where it was the first kind of nail in the coffin of that idea was the types of games it got, even though they were made by the same companies, like they'd still be made by EA or Activision or whatever. The games you were getting weren't one for one for the first time.
Right.
Like whatever you got Madden 2002 for GameCube, there wasn't almost anything different other than the fact it came on a mini disc rather than a DVD
Right.
from the PlayStation 2 version. But like Call of Duty, I remember when that came out. What was it? Call of Duty 3 for 360 and Wii. I'm trying to remember which one it was.
I don't know.
I
My
can't-
Call
I
of
can't
Duty-
remember.
Yeah, my Call of Duty knowledge is very limited.
What
I
was it?
remember that one being the first one that was like the 360 and the PlayStation 3 version had like full campaign modes, multiplayer, and this was like the Umbrella Chronicles Resident Evil game where it was like a rail-on shooter type
Right.
thing, and I was like, that's not what people wanted at all. Like,
Yeah.
not at all. And obviously, there's like sacrifices you have to make when porting these games to like less powerful consoles and stuff like that. But they chose the wrong ones, and they adapted the games in the wrong way. And it was like this catch-22 because they're misreading the room by saying like, oh, this game's not selling well. Obviously, people don't want this type of game. And it's like, no, they just don't want this type of game ported in this way. Like you're making the
Yeah.
wrong decisions, and that's what people aren't happy with.
Yeah,
Not
it wasn't
the
that they
fact
didn't want Call of Duty. It's that they didn't want this rail-on shooter Call of Duty that wasn't actually the same game that was being advertised it was
Right.
at some point. I mean, because if I remember correctly, they didn't even change the name. It was just like the same name,
Yeah.
name and everything.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
they didn't
that's-
even do
that's-
the whole like Call of Duty Wii, you know, like they,
Yeah,
they
it was
really
like modern.
changed
It was like Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1 or something, and it
And
was
completely just different experience all around.
completely different game.
Yeah, that's bad.
And it was like, I remember like the Madden games on there. Not only were they completely different from the other platforms, but they couldn't even figure out what to do with the Wii. Like in terms of
Yeah.
like, okay, this one, it's like we're going to make it more focused on the coaching experience, and that's how you play this game. And then the next one is like, oh no, it's super arcadey now and big head mode and stuff like that. And it's like,
Yep.
you can't even find your own identity on this thing.
And then when those didn't sell well, their first reaction, like when the Wii U came out, because the Wii U, as much as it gets like panned for a lot of things, and honestly, personally, it deserves some of those. Power really wasn't one of them.
Yeah,
it could
especially in the early days. In the early
those...
days, it was definitely a competent system in comparison to PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. Like a lot of people were like, "Is it more powerful?" It's like you gotta be like either you're just like straight up. I don't want to say hater, but either way, either you're a hater or you just don't understand the situation because the Wii U is. Factually, like there's no question marks about that. It's more powerful than the Xbox One and Xbox and Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. There's no question about that. Now, and there's also no question about it not being anywhere near as powerful as PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. That's when you got into the issue of like, oh, shoot,
it was a mid-cycle release and it threw things off. But the thing that like the reason why it didn't get like Madden whatever that year was when it came out wasn't because it couldn't handle it. It was because they did all those Wii versions that weren't the same and no one bought them. And so when EA looks at it, they're like, well, we're not going to make another game for this system.
Exactly.
Because it doesn't sell.
And that goes both ways. It goes both ways where it's like, I'm not going to buy the Nintendo version of a third-party game. Why would I do that?
Right. You know? Exactly. And so it's a giant like circle. And so I'm glad Switch seems to be pushing that around. Like, we talk about like things coming from other systems. We had Dragon Ball FighterZ, which graphically, I'm sure someone's going to do a teardown and do it frame by frame, and it's going to be worse looking than the Xbox One.
I mean, it definitely is. It's definitely lower resolution.
But coming from myself, who never played the Xbox One and has only seen it through screenshots, it looks fine.
It does. It looks fine. I'm just being, like, objective about it. It's definitely lower resolution. Does that matter?
Exactly.
No, it doesn't look like baby's first Dragon Ball FighterZ. It just doesn't look as graphically like impressive.
And that's how I felt about Wolfenstein when we did the review of Wolfenstein. Did it look as good? No. Did it look really good? Yes.
Right. Exactly.
It looked fine. And the Valkyria Chronicles 4 demo came out this week, and it's the same thing. It's on PS4. It looks great, and part of this, yet again, with Dragon Ball as well, is that's the art style they chose for them. Yeah. But they look fine, and I can bring them wherever I want, and I can play them wherever I want.
You have more. They play well. You have more options to do so. So it's like,
I don't know. And so since I don't have another like outlet for it, and Dragon Ball's weird, a little bit different because it's a port. Yeah. Valkyria Chronicles comes out same day here in the U.S. as it does for PS4. There's no selling point for me to go to the PS4 version.
Oh no.
Yeah. The thing about it that trips me out with this, with the whole like it looks terrible, end quotes, right? Is nobody was saying that on Xbox 360. You know?
Nope.
And Switch games a lot lot of them, even in handheld mode, look better than what the Xbox 360 could do.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But it's a relative thing. People are, like, saying, like, it's objective that, like, this looks unplayable. Look at the graphics. It's not even 4K. You know, like, stupid stuff like that.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, there's certain things where it's, like, if the game looks like an N64 game, all right, okay, I understand the complaint. But if you're playing even when like in those times where Doom drops to like 480p or whatever, you're playing Doom in the palm of your hand. Like
and not Doom from the 90s, like Doom.
Yeah, exactly. Doom from 2 years ago. Like if I would have walked up to somebody and been like, "Yo, there's going to be a tablet that runs that PlayStation 3 game. You know, Uncharted 3, there's going to be games that look better than that on a tablet."
Yeah.
You would have looked at me like I was insane.
No way, shut up.
I completely agree.
I would have been called a Nintendo fanboy. It would have been like, oh, yeah, right. Like, they would ever do that. But, I mean, they did it. You know, like, it's definitely not perfect in that way. If you're a stickler for that sort of thing, and for whatever reason, if this relative increase in like graphical fidelity ruins like what you were looking at 3 years ago with the same eyeballs, then it's probably not the platform for you. But like to act like it's like objectively like unplayable. You could how would people? I don't understand how people played games that look like this in 2006 or even 2012. You know, it's like
and you know the thing that's weird about that is I feel like Nintendo has been playing that seesaw game for as long as they've since N64, to be honest with you. Like, they've been playing this back and forth of like, oh, people want, an experience that they want to have. No, people really want fidelity, and they go and they pull a GameCube and they match spec for spec, and it doesn't sell well. And then they go back to experience with the Wii, and it sells like hotcakes, and people complain again about fidelity, so they make the Wii U, and the Wii U doesn't sell. So I mean, what's the point for them to even do it? Like,
it's just like, at the end of the day, as much as people want to think that graphical fidelity sells, it doesn't. No. That's not what sold. I mean, it's the closest thing to come to, okay, this sold well because graphical fidelity is PlayStation 4. And even there's caveats where it's like, I mean, it was because it was more powerful, but also it was cheaper than Xbox One. Sony also established this reputation for having like really high quality exclusives that you could expect to come to PlayStation 4. It just like, it was the whole like scuttlebutt of like, oh man, you got owned Sega style, $2.99 style or whatever, right? Like when they just came out and were like, oh, PlayStation 1 is $100 cheaper or whatever. Like, it was just that all over again.
One of my friends and I joked about that the year that happened, because if I remember correctly, Microsoft's presser was like that morning, and then Sony closed the night, and we joked that there was a scale of where they could reasonably price the PlayStation with still getting some form of positive numbers on their books. And whenever they just waited for Sony to be like, or for Microsoft to go like, oh yeah, I know it's $450 or whatever, and then someone in the back room was like $300, do $300.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like they're like, all right, what's the over under on this? What is the price that we need? What's the bare minimum? So we know, like, okay, we know we want this price, but what is the lowest that we could possibly go? And they're like, yes, this was $50 more than that. Go with $300 or whatever.
Do it.
Or $400. It was $400 at the time, wasn't it? Yeah, because Xbox One was $500.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm just saying, like, there was some number cruncher sitting in the back being like, nope, that's good, we can do that. Nope, go lower. Like,
and there's so much more than that. Like, that's how you know that, like, E3, like the manufacturers like to say like, oh no, these are locked up. And I don't know how it works with like Nintendo, for instance, right? But it's very clear that they make sure that there's leeway in their presentations where they're like, all right, this is stuff that we can budge on. This is the stuff that's locked in.
It's someone in a Keynote application changing like a 4 to a 6 to a 5, exactly. Like, it's
and I mean, even more than that, like, we know just because of like data from like the day one patch for PlayStation 4, they were going to do a very similar DRM thing, but they pulled it back and didn't talk about it because they saw the backlash from Xbox.
Yeah, they saw they were going to get in there like, oh, we're not going through that.
Because all I could see going through Sony's mind at the time, and this is way off topic, was the PS3 still outsold Xbox 360, which I think is odd for us because in the US it was very much dominated the other way. Yeah. But internationally speaking, the PS3 still outsold the 360.
I mean,
it was $200 more.
Yeah, I think the deciding factor for that though is Japan. Like, Japan, it's rare that, well, in the modern day. No, not even. Because the Xbox, like, it has no identity at all in Japan. None. It sells hundreds of units a week in Japan. 100. Like 200, 500 max. And Europe is competent, like it's selling at least, like 10, 20, 30,000 a week in Europe. It's getting beat by PlayStation, but the margin is nowhere near as wide in the positive direction as it is or was here. Like, Xbox 360 was clobbering PlayStation 3 throughout the entirety of it, really, for the most part. But the gap in Japan, I think, is what really was the deciding factor there, because the gap between Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 worldwide in terms of sales was a few million units. And that's Japan sales right there.
Yeah.
But we're off topic. Third-party games on Switch, they're coming. I think that we're going to get a lot more. I think the majority of them are going to be through Panic Button.
I don't know if they can keep up that pace. That's my only worry, is because they're doing, Warframe? As well right now.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I've never really played it before.
It sounds like they have a lot. It sounds like they have a lot in development. It sounds like they rely a lot on contractors.
Okay.
What I could read from the AMA on Reddit. because they said that their business model is like really scalable. Like they depend on like the local talent and stuff like that to meet demand for whatever their project is.
That's cool.
But outside of that, it's just like, it sounds like they already have, like, they have a lot more in the holster than we think they do, you know?
Yeah.
Especially at the time where it was like, man, how many, and like, I even was like, I was telling Logan when I was like looking through this, and the reason why I was reading that is because I like went down this rabbit hole of like, man, they're working on so many games. How many people work there? So I looked that up and I saw on LinkedIn, and it says it's between 11 and 50 people that work at Panic Button. So I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. So then I went down the rabbit hole of the AMA, and then they were like, yeah, we're scalable. We bring people on and off and stuff like that.
Those are like the best 50 programmers ever.
Right.
Yeah, like
That's crazy.
They just pulled every good programmer on Earth, and we're like, all right, just one programmer works on every game. 50 games in development right now. And also they pull from like the companies that they're porting, you know. Like,
right. Bethesda definitely has hands on this. Like they're not just turning it over.
Yeah. And a lot of times, like, they're not still like supporting like Rocket League, right? Like, Panic Button isn't on that anymore. That's a Psyonix thing.
That's
so,
all Psyonix now.
Yeah. So whenever they update on their game, it's like that's Psyonix. It's not like Panic Button head down on this for a year after, you know. So they're able to free up staff and do the next thing. I just want to know what the next thing is, or what the next things are. Like, how many people? Like, another thing that they said in the AMA is like people were like, what companies are asking you this stuff? And I was like, they answered a lot of questions that I thought that they wouldn't. Honestly, I'm like, they're not going to answer that. And then they're like, oh, all of them, every single one of them, all of them asked us for ports and stuff. It just depends on if it's a game that we're passionate about and or up to the tax to do or not. They didn't really say it in that way where it's like, we're not capable of doing that, because of course, like, why would they frame it in that way? But it definitely sounds like they're pulling from all parts of the industry, and they're very much so in demand. But we could always use another one, you know. Who ported Skyrim? Iron Galaxy or something like that?
Yeah, I think it's Iron Galaxy. They're the ones that a little ballsy a couple of months ago.
Said the Monster Hunter thing, yeah.
Yeah, offered Capcom to try to port Monster Hunter World over. Yeah. Which I don't know if that's possible, but if it is, I'm cool for them trying. Like,
I think that it very much so is possible. I think that it's probably not possible in a I wouldn't even necessarily say in a reasonable time frame, but I just don't think that it's not worth it for them to port Monster Hunter World, especially since for the most part Capcom is more like, generally they're more like forward facing than that. They usually don't port stuff backwards that close to the release.
Yeah.
Like, they're not like, oh yeah, it's been 6 months, let's port backwards. The last time they really did that was with the Capcom 7 or whatever, where it's like, oh man, GameCube's not turning out the way that we thought it was. I know that we said that we would decapitate our CEO or whatever if these games move to another platform, but we got to do what we got to do. But outside of that, they're generally like legacy collection sort of thing, right? Like, it's once the games are in this like retro.
Yeah, I mean, even the Monster Hunter port across or localization for what's the one that's coming out? Generations Double Cross Ultimate.
Right.
I mean, that took what, a year and a half?
Yeah, something like that. I mostly stopped paying attention to releases on 3DS, so I don't know when dates go.
Well, I'm trying to remember, like, that game's weird because it's like the original game came out and then they had an Ultimate version on 3DS as well, and then they ported the Ultimate version to Switch in Japan only, and then they ported it to America finally.
Yeah.
Speaking of Ultimate version, Smash Bros. Ultimate. There was a video on it this week. Yeah, good video. I definitely agree with your sentiments about, you know, things being released. There's too much. We're seeing too much already. Where's the mystery? Where's the mystique? Where's the excitement? Where's the surprise of the old Smash Bros. Games? It's gone. That's where it is. It's gone. We're not getting any more, honestly. because they're
The internet age has killed it.
yeah. They're revealing everything. They're showing everything.
Sakurai's upset that people put Subspace online and spoiled everything, and so now he spoils everything before it can be spoiled.
It was a traumatic experience. It was a traumatic.
Yeah.
So
He said, man, forget this.
there's a few things about this video that, not the video, but the reception of the video that irked me, that irked my soul in every way, is that like apparently like a subsect of the internet don't understand like a strap line, like that sort of thing, where it's like I literally pulled something from in the video, but like so many people like try to like formulate the context of that thing, you know, like the title of like Shovel Knight was robbed. I said that like facetious, like I was being facetious, you know. I wasn't like saying like, oh yeah, I really am very angry about Shovel Knight, I'm not buying Ultimate, blah blah. But people saw the title and assumed the context in which I was saying that. Nowhere in the title did I like spell out like Nintendo's the worst company, I'm never buying a Nintendo product ever again, Sakurai ruined my childhood, period. I mean, it was a stupid joke that people are like, or some people, it's not everybody, but there's a contingent of people that very clearly have not watched the video of like, he wasn't robbed, it's not that serious, blah blah blah. And it's like, yeah, you clearly didn't watch the video, it's obvious you didn't watch the video.
Now, if you're really that upset about it, AJ, I don't know if you know this, but they've officially announced that Shovel Knight is going to go into Rivals of Aether.
That's stupid, and I said that's another thing. That's not the next thing that I'm upset about, but it's a spider web off of the thing that I'm upset about. There's so many people are like, well, he's in that game. That's not the same thing. I mean, again, I don't really care that Shovel Knight's not in the game. I was probably not going to use him that much anyway. I mean, I was going to use him because we all know I jump around.
Yeah, let's face it.
Yeah, I mean, let's just be honest. You know, I'm a Rolling Stone. But
AJ gets around with fighters.
But no, like, it's kind of like your dog died and then somebody buys you another one. Like, it's just as good as the last one. You know, it's like, no, but it's not the same. It's the whole like little kid thing of like their puppet or toy of some sort broke and then you just try to replace it and it's not the same to them. It's not the same putting Shovel Knight in a different game that I'm not going to play.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So to be like, well, he's in Rivals of Aether is like that's like, okay, I'm still not going to play that game. I
mean, mine was a joke, so.
Yeah, I know. But I'm saying like that was something that they put in the comments and I'm like,
just like there's somebody seriously saying that, like, hey, well, at least he's in here.
Yeah, I mean, and to be fair, some people are in there like saying it joking, and those people like like it's clear when they're joking. But the people that start their comment with like "you're so entitled," blah blah blah, and it's like I spent the whole of the video explaining that I'm not, and I understand why they're doing that, and that segues into the next thing that makes me mad about the reception.
And AJ is very mad about this
thing
video.
is like you touched on that there's like a small portion of the video where you touched on that. Like the whole video wasn't even about that, dude. About that.
Exactly.
Which is funny.
But it's also like, and I want to close off that section. I'm trying to make it clean so you guys can say you're part of the video. But I do want to like let people know that there's things that I am upset about on the reception of this video. Not really upset. I'm not really angry, but it's not entertaining to be like, it's, you know, it's moderately annoying that blah blah. But anyway. The last thing really that annoys me is at the end of the video when I said that it bums me out that Nintendo and Sakurai feel the need or have to feel the need really to announce everything before the game's out. And I explicitly said in the video that I get why they do it. I understand it's a different time. I understand they can't hold secrets for that long. So if you can't hold a secret and you want to control your messaging, you have to do that. But doesn't change the fact that it bums me out.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm upset that we're not going to get the random King K. Rool is now challenging you type thing. But you know, whatever. The internet ruins everything. That's cool.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what my complaint was. It was with the internet, not with Nintendo and Sakurai. It was like, man, I hate that the internet is like this. I wish it wasn't. Period. It wasn't like they need to change how they do things. It's like, no, I get why they do it. I understand.
To be fair, Sakurai also may have gone a little bit too far with his disappointment with Subspace. Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
So I remember
YouTubers
correctly,
Like, that's
at
it. I'm
one
throwing
point,
everything at the wall this time. That's it. I'm tired. But yeah.
No, if I remember correctly, whenever 4 came out, someone asked him about having another adventure mode like that, and he was like, "Never again." Because
he
of
said
it.
that
Like,
he said that he wasn't going to do it because, again, I mean, really, he feels the same way that I do, where it's like it bums him out that all this stuff gets pulled from the game and uploaded just to just in a YouTube video, and it's funny because it's kind of like he's sticking it to those people, which they don't care. They just want to know the information.
Yeah,
it really only hurts me, but he's trying to be like, oh, well, you guys want it up on YouTube, well, I'll put it up on YouTube. You know, it's like that whole thing. Also, it changes the dynamic of it all. Like, it's not as exciting seeing in a Reddit post like, oh yeah, this is coming out on Switch, and it's like, but if you're able to have like that like messaging of like, here's the CGI trailer, it's more exciting than the leak, but it's not as exciting as being like, just imagine that. Imagine playing Smash Brothers Ultimate and slowly like realizing that, oh shoot, everybody's in this game.
That sucks because that'll never happen. That'll never happen. That experience is not happening. But that'd have been great. That'd have been great, honestly.
It would have been so dope, because it's like, even if it's for us, I mean, it's all ruined for us. We have no hope, right? But the people, because we gotta look at all this stuff, you know.
I don't know how Jess does it. Like,
Exactly.
I remember listening to that video or the episode with you and Jess, and I was just like, how does she not?
Right? Yeah.
Right. But the average consumer, they don't have to look at any of this crap. You know, like, you don't have to go out of your way to look for leaks, really. Especially if you're an average person, because the average person doesn't consume Twitter even in the way that we do. So you have to kind of look for those leaks. You have to go to sites to find a leak. Like, if I ask my brother right now, who's a pretty, like, he likes Smash Brothers, he's always like, yo, I'll smack you in Smash. He's one of those. But if I asked him who's in Smash Bros. Ultimate, he doesn't know. He's not going to be able to name even one person. Right? But we're cursed to know everything because we work on the internet. But aside from that, what did you guys think about the video?
I mean, I agreed. I think
Knuckles should be a character, and so should Crystal be a character.
Nintendo said, and Sakurai said, that Knuckles and Crystal do not deserve that honor. They haven't earned it.
Wrong.
So
I gotta kind of going to the Knuckles thing. Like, now correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Shadow an assist trophy too?
He was.
I don't know if he's in
I was gonna say, because if Knuckles is an assist trophy, maybe Shadow's a character. If it can Echo, who knows? It could be.
It's possible.
It could be.
I mean, it makes more sense with Echoes than Knuckles
Yeah, I'm thinking
does.
like, well, yeah, of course, but I'm thinking like, why would you have two like assist trophy reps? I don't think it's ever been a thing before. I don't know.
What do you mean assist trophy?
Like assist, yeah, right.
You mean, I see what you're saying.
The same franchise.
I thought you were saying like two characters that used to be assist trophies that are now fighters.
No.
Because like Little Mac and Charizard.
I don't know.
That'd be interesting to see. We'll see.
I mean, I feel like there might be some for Nintendo, but not third party.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Like multiple assist trophy reps.
Like multiple assist trophy reps for first party franchises,
right.
But I don't think there are any for third party.
So you mean like, so basically Pokeballs are that. That video, I'm very torn on that, and it's very much so a thing of like, you know, like internet personality. Like, you see the negative things more than you see the positive. Like, the like to dislike ratio is positive. Most people like that video.
Yeah.
But the things that stick out are the things that are very clearly like, if somebody was like, I hate this video because this, right, and it was like something like the comments about the menu, like, I like the menu. It's like, okay, that's valid. You like the menu. I think you're wrong, but you like the menu. That's fine.
That's a matter of preference. You have some bad preferences. Yeah, but it's cool.
You're an idiot, but you have a right to be an idiot. What I don't think people have the right to do is to like misconstrue what is being said to you. Nowhere in the video am I complaining and saying like, or genuinely, sarcastically I am, but am I complaining that Shovel Knight is not in the in the game or whatever, right? Right. Nowhere am I saying that. Nowhere am I saying that Sakurai owes it to me to keep the game a secret. You know, like I'm not bashing Nintendo. I'm just saying that some things, some things I want to be a little different, and it's fine that they're not. I'm still excited for the game, but sometimes you just got more hopes that don't work out.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it.
Speaking of hopes that don't work out, but eventually come true, Grymmhain.
That's right. Grymmhain has a lot of hopes and a lot of things to talk about.
He's been wanting us to acknowledge his books. That's right.
Novellas.
Yeah. So I dedicated the Smash Bros. Ultimate comment segment to him.
All right, Grymmhain.
Because
you are a regular, and you wrote 2 books for the comment of one.
Also, I feel like it's a good time to plug the Anchor listener support thing. If you want your comment prioritized, we read comments anyway, so you don't have to pay. But if you want to be sure that we read a comment that you're like, man, I really want to know their thoughts on this comment, I want them to discuss this on the show, you get one of those per month if you support at any level on Anchor.
That's right.
.fm/directly.
Just as full disclosure, though, I do not believe Grymmhain has done this. We are just being nice.
Grymmhain has not done this, but Grymmhain is an OG.
He's a regular. He deserves a spotlight because it's like
yeah. Just know that if you do it,
you can be a Grymmhain.
Like
you can be a Grymmhain. You can have your comment.
No, not even. You can kick Grymmhain out. You can say no, you don't get a comment this week. And if you're Grymmhain, you can boot that guy that was trying to boot. No, you can't boot each other off if you pledge. But if you're Grymmhain, you don't gotta worry about us.
You're starting a very slippery slope there.
Whether or not we read your book.
Right, exactly. But Grymmhain says, in a very long-winded post,
these are my favorite parts.
I wish they spent the time talking about other games. Like, okay, Smash is
spending time talking about things.
Like, okay, Smash is going to be great for them and for the fans and the game and the journalists. I don't know. I guess esports people maybe, but no one who wasn't going to buy this Smash Bros. Is going to has been swayed by this direct, unless they're so hard up for Simon Belmont or something. For the record, I love Castlevania and is getting this much love, and more on this later. Nor is anyone who wanted to buy Smash going to not buy it now, unless they're like a diehard Shovel Knight fanboys who view the assist trophy as an unforgivable slap in the face to all that is right with the world. But those people don't deserve to have fun anyway, so who cares about them? Whew. So this direct accomplished a whole lot of nothing. The questions people had after E3 for Nintendo were basically, so that's your lineup for 2018, what's the rest of the year looking like? Or some variation of that. Nintendo, more specifically Reggie, responded quickly that they had more games to announce for 2018 and to expect that soon in the following months. We're now a bit over 2 months in the future from that comment, and while we've gotten new announcements, they mostly come from the game developers, not from Nintendo. And sure, Nintendo will be fine, even if they only had Pokemon and Smash for holiday 2018. Yes, even Pokemon Let's Go, because really, let's go to the time in this discussion when the haters admit they're buying the game anyway, even if they only buy one of the two, and only get one Pokeball instead of 6, because we all know they're going to. But they want to push 20 million Switches in physical 2018, and while those two games are system sellers, it's questionable if they're capable of selling 8 million systems. Nintendo has already sold 1.8 million in quarter 1 2018. I'm allowing for 2 million in quarter 2 because both quarters have seen similar game releases, leaving 16 million for quarter 3 and quarter 4. Certainly the franchises have the players, but not all day one buyers, and some percentage of each already own a Switch. The last thing is something that gets glossed over when can Nintendo hit 20 million physical 18 discussions happen. I think Nintendo should be looking to shore up those mega blockbuster games with other fan favorite franchises. They also should be getting out ahead of September and announcing all the details about the online service. Like, we haven't heard anything about that. It's just been great.
We heard about it kinda, a little bit, but we can continue.
Like seriously, Nintendo, stop playing coy with the lines. We have more to announce, but not yet. This is the first time you are charging for an online service, and while $1 for feature-wise, you're doing well, you've gotten a history of doing poorly when it comes to online. It's not time to play hard to get with news about this service. if this direct was to circumvent leakers by dumping out information, I'm going to be disappointed in Nintendo. It does the same damage, it's just from an official source, which is actually worse. With leakers, there's always the possibility they're wrong or have bad information. With a direct from Nintendo, we know that the information given is entirely correct. Finally,
That's fair.
I really hope that Konami wakes up from their Pachinko machine. Pachinko machine dream that pushes out at least some of their classic games on the Switch. I feel like a lot of the gamers who never played an NES when it was the only system to have had a bad image of Konami. But they have such an amazing retro library. Seeing the love song that Smash is singing to Castlevania gets my hopes up that we will see a revival of Konami I know and loved.
Okay. We probably should have like broke this down.
Yeah.
Every time he said something. But all right, let's just scroll through the comment. Well, the first thing that stuck out to me was the 20 million units thing. I think you're underestimating the power of those two franchises. I think Pokemon and Smash easily could push that, you know, in tandem with the other stuff. You know, like there's going to be a few sold here and there from the Yoshis and the stuff like that. But which I don't even know if that did they say first half for Yoshi or did they say first quarter?
They just said 2018.
2019.
2019.
Yeah. So because if it's before March, then that's
It
still
would
this
still hit
fiscal year.
fiscally.
Yeah.
The only thing I think they've put an actual like relative time zone to is Fire Emblem. It's first quarter.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, like Fire Emblem, Smash, Pokemon, Yoshi, if those are all within the parameters that are the quarters of the fiscal year, I think that they'll definitely hit that mark. I think that more stuff would help propel them past it, but they're going to sell a certain amount anyway. You know, like it's not like they were going to sell 5 to 10 million units just off the strength of the 2017 lineup. Just people picking it up as they go. You know, like there's still people buying Breath of the Wild. There's still people buying Mario Odyssey. There's still people buying Mario Kart 8. You know, like these are games that, like the thing that's more important for like to announce these new games and stuff like that is to like keep the people that they already have playing. But the past games are still very relevant for selling the system. It's just adding more like pushes you over the edge of like, okay, well they also have this, so I guess I'll buy it.
I don't disagree with that idea completely. I don't think they're helping themselves out by doing things the way they're doing. If that makes sense.
I think
it's going from they easily could have pushed past that 20 million to now it's we might hit 20 million by doing like 20.1 or something.
But the thing is, like, I don't think that they are prepared logistically to push past 20 million. I think that they're pacing themselves to make sure that they continue to sell more than 20 million the next fiscal year, and also so that they're able to have product to push in the next fiscal year. Because if they're just like, all right, throw everything at the wall, then you have Wii U all over again, where it's like, all right, we have 5 games that we could readily announce and release right now, and we're just going to do that, and then we have nothing next year.
I think the difference with me is and we spoke about this a couple weeks ago on Discord, is kind of an idea of perception. Nintendo last year was really good at giving this perception to the consumer of this like constantly moving, pushing forward kind of locomotive of hype. Like it was every month for the most part had a relatively major release, whether it be a port from Wii U coming over, third-party game like Mario and Rabbids, which was panned, I think, at E3 when it was showed off, but it got great reviews. Right. And then you get things like Breath of Wild, Mario Odyssey, Xenoblade Chronicles in December. They just kept pushing that line of like, this is what we're doing, and they pushed really hard. And this year they're a lot more open to not controlling that as much, if that makes sense. Like this last week alone, I think there were 3 or 4 things I could have seen easily in like a 5-second, or not 5 seconds, but like a minute and a half segment of a direct. Where if this was last year, that's the way it would have worked, and it would have been pushing that kind of company line, because like as much as look for that stuff, as you said, like the general consumer, the direct is going to have more mass showing than a news article that, you know, this game got a release date or something.
I don't know if it would, but I think the problem with like comparing launch year to this year is that launch year, third parties didn't have control of that messaging, and they weren't allowed to. You can't do that with a system when it's already out in the wild. Like, the reason why they were able to control the messaging for a lot of the games beforehand and like announce them where it's like, this is a huge year all at once, it's because there's NDAs in place, and you can't just say, hey, we're releasing Doom and we're releasing Wolfenstein and stuff like that, because not everything is out and ready to go. But now everything's out.
To give a good example of kind of what I'm talking about, like the day of the Smash Brothers Direct, the day before that they had 3 different games get release dates or a demo or something. And to me, that seems like a year ago that would have been, we have 20 minutes to talk about Smash Brothers, but we're going to throw all this other stuff together and control this message. And
I think
you don't have that as much now.
With a direct like that, you end up like the E3, where everybody's like, I mean, we got a ton of announcements at E3, but most of it was Smash Brothers. So people are like, well, why didn't you just show Smash Brothers? So why would you do another direct like that? Like, if you don't have, I think the ideal direct has at least 2 juggernaut announcements. Juggernaut, not, oh yeah, we got a release date for this game you already knew existed. Okay, fine. But like, if the whole direct is, the messaging for that direct is controlled by one game, just make the direct about that game. Like, everything else can be announced
outside. Like, we spent like little pieces on these other games, and like 30 minutes was on Smash. Like, jeez, that was crazy. Sure.
So it's like, and I think that especially in the modern age, they don't need to have a direct for everything. You can get circulation a lot of times if it's a big deal game and they announce it in like a more like nonchalant way. That'll even get more buzz. It's like the Beyonce like Lemonade effect, where she's just like, all right, I'm just going to out of nowhere drop this album, and then everybody feels like, oh man, I'm the only person that knows about this. Little do they know, 800,000 other people also feel like they're the only person that knows about this. So sometimes it behooves you to release games in that way and not make a big deal out of it, because not every game is worth that per se, but the boiling up, or the bubbling of like, oh man, like this is a unknown gem and nobody knows about this, the Celestes of the world, right? Like, they didn't make a huge deal about Celeste beforehand, but that game blew up.
It was still part of a direct though.
Yeah, it was a part of direct that they completely brushed over, and nobody knew anything about it until people started playing it. So it's like, why waste that real estate in the direct to talk about a game people are brushing over anyway, when you could just announce it and a reveal that a lot of people are going to brush over anyway, and let the game speak for itself. Like, there's very few games that, like, I feel like the games that directs matter for are the ones that are going to generate hype. A game that, like, it doesn't really do a good job, or a lot of directs don't do a good job at pushing games up to be like, this is a game you should care about, because it didn't do that for Celeste.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess the question is also like, we're getting way off topic, but the question is also, what other games could be that level for Smash Brothers? I mean, we haven't really heard anything else about Mario Party since Mario Party got announced. They could have easily
I don't think Mario Party is that big of a deal. I think that we'll get a Mario Party Direct when Mario Party is closer to release. But Smash Brothers is like, other than Pokemon, I guess, but Pokemon Let's Go, the majority of that's going to be a different audience. That's not, again, the direct audience.
And Game Freak usually does their own thing.
That too. But with Smash Brothers, it's like, that's definitely that game. It's the Overwatch sort of thing, where it's like, you want to spend time nurturing that hype cycle. They don't really, as far as we know right now, they don't have any games that is really worth.
They couldn't share that with Mario Party at all. That's when that wouldn't fit.
And even, I mean, honestly, and I know for a fact Grymmhain feels this way. They're talking about Smash Bros. Too early. Really, they could blow all this stuff out in December if they wanted to, or late November after Pokemon.
I think that might be part of my thing as well. Is we're sitting here in August talking about a game coming out in December, and we don't really have too much in between that, if that makes sense. Like they keep on saying they have other stuff for the rest of the year as well, but that stuff's not coming out before, or if it's coming out before Smash, maybe we should talk about that stuff before we talk about Smash. Like,
I don't know if I believe that either, but it really depends on the timing of those games, because it's like Smash Brothers is a game that if they talk about it 3-4 months before release, it can maintain that hype. Not every game can do that. So it does make sense for, especially now that we see case studies of games again that have like that Beyonce effect of like Fallout 4. This game's coming out 2 months from now, and we're announcing it now. Like that sort of thing is like it maintains the hype. People don't get bored of the idea of your game. Like when they announced that Steep is officially canceled, who really cares? Because how long ago was that revealed? And we still don't have it. Like that is the danger that you risk with most games if you announce them too early.
I guess my question is, like, if we already have something lined up for October, November, December. I mean, are these coming out in August or September? Because I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's weird.
I wouldn't be surprised if they revealed games, even if they're 2 weeks later, because they never said the size of the games. It could just be indie games. So a lot of that was like, we did touch on like the 20 million thing. I think that even a lot of that diatribe was on topic for that. He talked about like them talking about Smash and like
you want other stuff,
right?
Not the one other stuff necessarily, but like them talking about Smash. But if this, like, they don't need to talk about Smash because everybody that wants Smash and is going to get it.
This didn't do anything to sway me to want. Smash
talking about Konami a little bit.
Yeah, that's also true. I definitely think we'll get more support from them.
I hope so. I mean, at least something in the realm of like the retro re-release things they've been doing.
I want a Metal Gear Solid 5 port. That's what I want.
I don't know if that'll happen. That seems harder to me.
I want it. It doesn't seem hard to me because Metal Gear Solid 5 is also a PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 game.
No, I meant the legality behind it. I don't know how much Hideo Kojima controls in that situation.
That's true. But they did port it again or they did do like the definitive release and stuff like that, and they didn't have any problems doing that.
True.
I don't know, and like I know people are going to be like, but that's the same platform, blah. It's still a new release of a game. It's like just like Nintendo has to get clearance to use the other party's IP to port the same game to a different, like they had to get licenses for the 3DS version and the Wii U version.
I guess my only thing with that is I don't know how much personnel wise Konami still has on the books to be able to handle that type of stuff. I mean, obviously they
give it the panic button. We already established this. But yeah, I think that we'll definitely see more support from Konami. He's talking about the 20. Yeah, we were on topic. Yeah. We just started talking specifically about Grymmhain. Good comment. Make them shorter next time, unless you pay for the anchor.
Yeah, right.
Thing.
No, next time we just got a segment and like stop out. We just like stop after each like paragraph and like, okay,
so we can ensure that everything is
right.
Yeah.
All right, so Game Boy Advance remasters and the masters in general for just all some of our favorite Game Boy remasters and all games like that we like to play on the Switch.
Yes.
Yep.
I intentionally left Mother off of there because I wanted people to leave the comment because I knew they would.
Yeah. That's what the only one I think. Well, did you talk about Golden Sun in it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mentioned Golden Sun. I didn't.
I thought there was like something in passing. My thing with Golden Sun is with the success of Octopath, I think I'd really like to see Golden Sun in that art style. I think would be really cool. And then Mother 3 just to get people off Reggie's back so he can sleep.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Golden Sun's something I definitely want to check out. Especially since like it's one of those things where it's like why remasters are so important because I haven't played it before, so that'd be cool.
Yeah. I have it on Wii U, but like I don't want to play my Wii U.
Right.
The only game my Wii U, like it's the same story as 3DS, but like it needs to be even more of a special game for me to want to play it on Wii U. You know, like literally the only thing I'm like I'll pull out my my Wii U for that is Smash Brothers. That's it. Everything else is like I don't really want to play that. Like I think I have like every Zelda game known to man on my Wii U, and I refuse to touch my Wii U for anything that's not Smash Brothers. But any thoughts that you guys have beyond what you just said?
Make a Legacy of Goku Collection remaster for the Switch.
Yo, somebody said that.
That's
somebody
awesome. That's cool.
He was like, I think that I'm probably the only one that wants this. And I was like, no, I would 100% buy that.
I mean, I'm one of those every game for Switch people. I mean, literally just whatever. Just put all of it.
That's true.
There was also a cool like Sonic fighting game for the Switch. They could do that. I mean, not for the Switch, for the freaking Game Boy.
How dare you?
The Game Boy. They could
How
do
dare
that.
you call that cool?
They could do that. They could put that out there. That'd be awesome. I'd get that.
Super Sonic Brothers.
No, it was like Super. I think it was like Sonic Battle or something. Sonic Battle.
Yeah. It's like a Sonic the Fighters sequel or whatever.
Anyways.
I thought you were going to say actual good games, like
that was a good game.
2D, like the Sonic. I thought you were going to say actual good games, like the Sonic Advance games.
or one of those, one of the 2D Sonic games.
Yeah, Sonic Advance games are pretty good.
Disney Pixar's Bug's Life.
Oh my
god. Game Boy specifically. That's why I roped in Game Boy Advance because I was like, there's not that many good Game Boy games.
What?
That aren't just Game Boy Advance games now. Name 5 distinct that are just Game Boy games that's not Pokemon or Tetris.
Kirby's Dream Land. There's more, I'm sure. I don't.
Exactly. That's my point. But Game Boy Advance was literally. I mean, hey, if it's that obvious, you know, if you're sitting there like, oh, that's blasphemous for you to say that, you know, like you just gave me a reaction like that's insane. If somebody was like, oh, there's no like DS games or whatever, I'd be like, what? And I'd be listing them all.
Link to the Past. I'm sure there's like 7 Mario games.
Game Boy, you got to dig deep. But Game Boy Advance, it was easy. Game Boy Advance was like, that was like, and usually that's the place that I try to be at with videos. I try to make sure I talk about something that I have too much to say, and I'm cutting stuff back, rather than struggling to add stuff. So I was like, all right, I got to Game Boy Advance in there, because I have way too many games that I could say for that.
Dr. Mario.
And I'm sure our viewers have a lot. Now you're just looking stuff up.
That's 2. That's number 2.
He's looking stuff up.
That's number 2.
He's looking it up now.
I think the problem with it is how many of these games also came out on like NES. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Right.
But that's what I'm saying. That's my point. Like, either it came out on, it has a better version on Game Boy Advance or some other.
Legendary like Super Warriors, just a pure Game Boy game. Awesome. Anyway,
I guess.
Yes, got one.
Now we're at 3.
I don't know anymore, honestly. All right, but maybe our viewers and fans know some others. Huh? That was a good little head nod.
That was a good one.
Hey,
yeah, sure.
Gilberto. I don't know how to say it.
People are horrible.
I would love to play Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Pokemon Emerald, and the Minish Cap on the Switch. What? They said it like as if it was. That's,
you know what I gotta do? This was a random thought, and it was just because of.
Anyway, Pokemon Emerald and Minish Cap on the Switch.
No, wait, listen. Something I want to do. I want to for the 3DS remaster video, the inevitable one. You know, the one that we're obviously going to do for Switch. I want to get Izzy on it.
You don't want that because that video's gonna be like 30 minutes long. Anyways,
Yeah,
It's just all the games that he's still playing.
Right,
on his
right,
2DS.
yeah, exactly.
I mean that'll work. That'll work having a 2-hour long action point. That'd be cool. Anyway,
Yeah, exactly.
Pokemon M with a Minish Cap on the Switch right now, and don't hate me. And I know they're from the DS, but I would love to play the Spirit Tracks and Phantom Hourglass. It would need some work, but I love these games. And finally, the Mario and Luigi series. Thank you. Man, I love these games so much, and I love you for making that comment, 'cause I love the Mario and Luigi RPGs. Those would be freaking awesome on the Switch as modernized, like freaking remasters.
Yeah, I didn't say that in the video.
Nah, I know you didn't. You suck. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Spirit Tracks and Phantom Hourglass are cheat codes. I had some cheat codes, but I had
Yeah, Mr. Link's Awakening over here.
Link's Awakening is on a Game Boy.
Yeah.
I know, but still, it's like, come on.
You stupid idiot.
Come
on.
It was released twice on the Game Boy.
Yeah, don't be dumb. Stop being dumb. You're dumb.
Skyward Sword is the best Legend of Zelda game ever. Anyways, moving on.
It was.
Speaking of being dumb.
Just to break the silence.
Was there silence? I think I was just repeatedly calling you dumb.
Just to break the idiocy.
Something that isn't dumb. Next comment.
Caleb Rosa. Mother 1 and 2 and Mother 3. Or better yet, make a Mother side trilogy with remade engine, graphics, music, etc. I would pay hundreds for this. Hundreds. I know he didn't, but I'm adding extra emphasis. It's called showmanship, you stupid piece of... Anyways. Anyway.
I was making sure the audience knew. Transparency
yeah.
and all that. Support us on Anchor Listening.
Anyways, yeah.
Anyway. Yes, I said I intentionally left this off the list because I wanted people to leave this comment. I am down for a remaster. I want that very much. So.
I want like a. I don't know if remake.
No one cares what you want, Justin. Who asked you on this podcast?
No one. I invited myself. I want one that's done in like, this is gonna sound really weird. Everyone I talk to, I think, thinks it's weird, but I want one done in the style of Amiibos. Like I want.
Yeah, you're weird.
I want all of them to look like little plastic toys. Like
that is gross and disgusting. Why would you ever say that?
No,
I want them to look like the
no one what
puppet situation.
What?
No, what?
That they had in trailers.
No, that's terrible. That's a terrible idea.
It's like how they look. It's like how they look in Smash Brothers. How like they have like super flat shading and stuff on them, as far as like shadows and stuff. I think they look really cool.
I just want the game to come out already. That's what I want. I want these remasters.
No one cares what you want either. Who
them.
invited you on this podcast?
I want them, right? I want about hundreds of dollars. I don't know about that though. All right, Caleb. I don't know about hundreds of dollars. I'd pay a solid. I pay 90. All right, I go 90. Not hundreds. Not hundreds.
Extra $10 is what does it.
No. He said hundreds.
No.
He said hundreds.
Yeah,
he put
exactly.
like that's plural. He put like 200, 300. Forget that.
I gotta side with Logan on this one, and that's how you know he's right on that. Like you know that what he's saying isn't even opinion; it's just a straight fact at that point. If I have to side, because it pains me deeply.
Because it hurts you deep inside your soul, your core. Anyway,
speaking of what hurts me deep inside my soul, my core, us prolonging this conversation, and I get into the next comment.
Preston Casey, Game & Watch Gallery DX, Link's Awakening Reimagined, Super Mario Land 1 and 2, Pokemon DP remakes, Diamond and Pearl. Oh my god, I'm so come on, really.
Noob,
anyway,
unsubscribe.
Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remakes with the next core RPG engine. Given remake history, it makes the most sense. I mean, you know.
So I love that there's this core group of Pokemon fans that really wants Diamond or like Gen 4 to be remade.
Yeah, like so much. But I mean, to be fair, that's always the case. It's all like, where's the Gen 3 remake? There was a contingent of people that are like that too.
Yeah.
Like,
what I love is Game Freak has found a way by Let's Go, because I'm with you. I fully imagine Let's Go is going to become their remake generation. Mm-hmm. To basically just reset it with Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. They got to 4, and they got to Gen 4, and they were like, yeah, you know what, we're going to do Diamond and nope. We're going back to Kanto.
that would be hilarious. I would die.
I hope they get to Let's Go, Mudkip, and Torchic or whatever, and then all of a sudden decide to restart again just to mess with people. They never get
great.
Diamond and Pearl.
That'd be so great.
That'd be messed up, though. I'd feel pain for all of you people. But you know what? You gotta do what you gotta do. What you don't gotta do is leave comments like this.
Super Mario Land 1 2 awesome.
People do it anyway.
Game and Watching Out, you're alone on that one. You're alone, so I don't know.
How dare you? I was talking about the next comment.
I'm sure somebody likes that.
I mean, clearly people like it, cause he
somehow survived Smash Brothers. For like 4
yeah,
days
right.
now. Like,
yeah, right. Game What? Yeah, when I first seen that Melee, I was like, what the heck is this? I was like, what the heck is this guy?
It's because you're a fake fan, fake Nintendo fan. You don't even know all their history. I bet you didn't even have a color 15 TV.
Anyways, moving on to a character that needs to be in Smash Bros. Fortnite, a Fortnite representative. We need that in Smash.
Oh my god,
that'd be crazy. That'd be terrible. That'd be terrible.
did anyone see that video of everyone in Smash doing the Fortnite dance?
No.
My eyes can never unsee it. Like, I never want to visit another YouTube video.
No, I didn't see that because Fortnite is cancer, which is also the name of the person who just commented this comment. What if I told you that Pokemon Let's Go, Pokemon and Eevee are lazily made nostalgia cash grabs with the same models of the 3DS games and the same clunky animations and Mew locked behind a paywall, and it pisses me off. No, they didn't add that part at the end with the pisses me off. But yeah, I don't know.
I agree with most of that.
I think it's very wrong. I don't think it's a cash grab at all. I think that it's definitely something that will make
the fact
money,
you said lazily made. Like, come on, like, they clearly ever put into this thing. Come on, don't say that. Don't say that.
Just because you don't like it doesn't mean
right,
that it's lazy.
Exactly.
No. The only thing I think is lazy is the sense of I don't know how much of the upgrade in fidelity that people are talking about is just that the 3DS was down resing stuff. I don't think there was a lot of change there.
I don't think that this is the type of game that you need that.
No. Like, even things like a lot of what's selling Let's Go to a lot of people is kind of the charm of the interaction between you and your partner. I noticed I was watching someone do a playthrough of the demo, and even the battle animations haven't been changed at all to fit attacks any better. It's just small stuff like that. I would have thought they would have maybe fine-tuned or dialed up a little bit.
You'll see it fine-tuned and dialed up next year, all right, with the next game. This is something different, all right? Jeez. I'm tired of people like you. I'm tired of it. Let these games be what they are. I'm sick of it.
Well, no. Like, I made the argument that this isn't a new generation because of that, and I get a lot of flack, I think, for that. It's not.
I think it's very much so a new generation. I don't think every generation needs to like reinvent the wheel. In terms of, because that's not what it is. It's just like how people are like, Wii U's not a current gen console or whatever when it was, because that's not how generations are defined. It's not by, oh, this doesn't meet this arbitrary threshold of requirements that I thought up in my head. That's not what generations are. It's not what that means. Just like whenever I'm like Gen 1's trash, and then people are like, I like Kanto. It's like, no, but that's not what that means.
That's
Gen 1 is Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow. That's Gen 1.
That's not what Sonic Generations are. Anyways.
Oh my god. We got to move on to the article. This isn't on the thing. We're going to talk about Justin's article. There's no comments though, because
no one comments on the website. You should comment on the website. I don't know if people know this, but I actually do have a comment system.
Guys, comment on the website. We will add those comments in the segments onto the podcast.
Right now it's just a whole bunch of bots.
We'll add one. We'll add one comment from the website. So that way it's not too freaking long.
Okay.
All right.
So his article is about the Switch getting
just a hardware revision. It doesn't need to be reinventing the wheel, like you said. So we did I did an editorial on, we're hitting a point where with the DS and the 3DS hit time frame wise about 2 years, where they brought out the DS Lite and a price drop for the 3DS and a slight revision, but and so the question is kind of, do we need one for the Switch? Does it need one? And what would it be? Like, I can't see them doing a DSi new 3DS jump where it gets its own type of games or that big of a processor jump or anything like that.
I don't think this is a necessity. I don't think it is.
I think the thing that a lot of people are I'm sorry, Logan. I think a lot of things that people are doing is like they want every console, like everybody to have a console, so that means that they need to make it cheaper, so that means they need to make a cheaper console, so that means so on and so forth. But like they didn't say they want to have everybody have every console right now. They didn't say that was going to be their goal for tomorrow.
Right.
I think that the thing that is going to help them to achieve that goal is pricing dropping organically and as they go forward, because they already said before we even knew Switch was called Switch that NX was like this like long running initiative of like PlayStation 4 style.
Right. We knew this was going to be like a family type of thing.
So for them to like be like, hey, here's this like cheaply made or smaller version of, or you know, like that sort of thing, I just think that it's antithetical of what they're trying to do. And I don't think that they need to do it to push hardware. It's not like the Switch sales, like usually with hardware revisions, they did those to solve a problem. There's no problem with like people aren't like, man, I really wish like all I need to buy a Switch is smaller Joy-Cons, you know, or like the problems that I do see sometimes with like a contingent, and I mean you've even like voiced this, is like the portable thing. But I think that those type of concerns where it's like it goes against what the market is saying, and it goes against what their marketing is saying, are the type of things that they don't want to solve for. Like 3DS, I think, is like what people turn to, where it's like, well, 3DS, they sold that as a 3D thing and they pulled that back, and it's like, yeah, but that's because they learned after the fact that most of their audience, like currently or at that time, would not be able to use that feature.
Right.
Yeah, there was the whole 7.
Yeah, the whole age gap. Yeah,
like,
right.
Yeah, exactly. Like they wouldn't be able to use that feature. Nobody else wanted to use it. You know, like the older gamers don't want to use that. Like at most,
I couldn't tell you how many times I just didn't have my 3D feature on, like ever on that.
I never did.
Yeah, I mean, I turn it on to be like, I wonder what this game looks like in 3D. It's kind of like what we talk about with me, Logan, with me and you talk about with graphics, where it's like you play a game and then you're like, man, this is beautiful, and then you never say it again. There's sometimes where you have this revelation where it's like, damn, I forgot how good this is. Right. But for the most part,
you're like, what's it like with 3D? And you turn it off forever.
Except for, I think the issue with that is whenever you do that, because I did it with like Pokemon. I'm like, oh, what was this? I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead. That's being job. I did that with Pokemon. I'd like turn it on. I'm like, I wonder what this looks like. I don't. I'm just gonna turn it back off.
Yeah, that's very much what it's like. It's just like, okay, this is it.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, there are exceptions of like, I think I played most of Kid Icarus Uprising in 3D because it did add to it, where it was like, oh man, I can like tell even more how I need to dodge.
Yeah, because
like,
I mean, that game more than it just had you know.
As I say, that game was specifically built for
that depth perception that helped a lot, because it's on rail and things were downward. It made sense for that. But for Smash Bros,
same thing with like Mario 3D Land and stuff like that. But they got to a point where it's like, okay, we can't really design games for this because a lot of our audience can't use it. So it just like that is the exception to the rule, but it had a concrete reason.
Yeah.
The wide like audience of Switch right now is not like, I never use the other feature, you know, like I just use handheld. They have stats, and we know that the majority of people either half use, and by half I mean half of this group of people, like opposing views, half use the portable mode only, then the other half use docked. But if you like extrapolate even further, the biggest group are people that use both equally.
Yeah.
So it's like, and for a long time, full transparency, I only use portable, but now I use it equally because I bought a new TV. So now I was like, I get it. It's like it makes sense to want, and there's certain games that you want to play docked.
Yeah. Like when I got Mario Odyssey, I played that docked. You know, but when I got used to it, I was like, okay, I'm having portable. But yeah, you know, like for the first time, like first experience, I was like, oh, I want to see how this looks on the freaking big screen, you know, and it's just like awesome.
So there were a couple of things in the article I brought up that I do want to kind of bring up as talking points because it was part of the reason why I started writing the article in the first place was I don't know if you looked into it too much, but about a couple weeks ago there were reports that people were having cracks in the casing due to overheating of the system.
Yeah, I heard about
that. And so that was part of it. And basically one of the things I outlined here that I think may be a possibility, and it's not something that people may see on the outside, like they might not advertise it in this way per se, is Tegra. They use the X1 chip in the Switch at the moment. Tegra does offer an X2, which is a year newer, but the biggest benefit of it is that it runs at half the power drain, which in turn means half the heat.
Right.
So they could almost double battery life, so go from like 5 hours on Breath of the Wild to 10, and they could theoretically lower that heat threshold so you don't have issues like that. I think that might be a possibility sooner rather than later, but that's kind of the only big one. But those would be... to me, those would be big enough selling points to be like, oh, hey, you have a regular Switch. Like, for me, I use handheld 100% of the time. So, for me, if they were like, oh, yeah, by the way, we have this new Switch, and it's a little bit cheaper, and it gets twice the battery life, I'd be like, heck yeah, I'm buying that. Like, that's day one purchase.
See, but I don't think that would be the case. I don't think if they did a new one, it would be a little bit cheaper.
Well,
if anything,
the DS Lite was. I don't think it's going to be a huge change.
Yeah, but
don't get me wrong.
The DS
it was like
Lite,
$20.
The DS Lite was a little bit cheaper because they also use some cheaper components in the DS Lite.
They actually had twice or 9 hours of extra battery. Because that's one of the things I looked up.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the components themselves overall, not that they had improvements, but components are cheaper. The X2 chip is not cheaper than the X1.
That might be a difference, and it depends on. It's not cheaper by sticker point. Don't get me wrong. But that might be also an argument of how much Nintendo can negotiate now with the sales of the Switch.
Yeah,
but
that's true. That's true.
I don't want to jump to conclusions there. I'm just saying, like...
But I feel like if they're able to negotiate that, how much lower could they negotiate for the X1?
Well, the other part with the X1 that's going to run a problem would be, obviously, what it needs in the system. Like, they could pull stuff out or simplify stuff. They could use half the battery if they wanted to, technically, and make it cheaper that way. And keep the same battery life, whatever you want to do. Point. I'm just saying, like, that might be something that happens. I think that is the most logical next step. But I don't know.
I just think that it would take a lot of restraint from them as a company that wants to make money, as all companies do, to not use that as a springboard to be like, here's the next thing. Not we're quietly like, you know, like, this is a little bit better, it's cheaper, but like, why would they do that if they could blow it out and be like, here's this whole new thing, or here's this thing and it's the same price as the last thing, and we're lowering the price of the last.
It depends on how much they're going to keep, because we touched on this of how long the Switch as a platform exists and how long, or as a family, I guess if you want to call that, is in their mind. Like if Switch 2 or whatever the swap comes out and it's a major increase and that's in like 4 years, then obviously there's no room for this, I don't think. If they push that out to 5 or 6, I could see this being more of a thing that makes sense, especially if they do. I didn't think about it till we were just talking about it, but if they do that other step where they cut the battery, actual physical battery, in half to give it the same battery life and make it cheaper, they could theoretically drop that price quite a bit.
But I think the problem you run into there with that is the same thing that PlayStation 4 Pro and I almost call it Scorpio again. Xbox One X. I'll never not call it Scorpio.
Most powerful system ever.
Yeah, but the thing you run into with those is that like they don't sell anything. Like and they kind of they make it sound impressive in quotes, because they kind of rebranded them,
right?
Like they kind of like got in front of it of the messaging of being like, this is definitely not going to sell as much. because it's more expensive,
Right.
you know. But had they been wrong, they wouldn't be looking at it like that. It wouldn't be like, oh, well, you know, this is a vanity, like this is a pro elite console or whatever. It's only a select audience, blah blah. But that's just because that's what it turned out to be.
Right.
Not because that's
it's
what
like we were going
like,
for that the whole time.
Yeah,
Right.
like it's not like they're, because there's like boutique products, right? Where it's like, hey, we know that there's a subsect of people that are going to pay hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars for this one thing. So it's fine if we sell 5 of them a quarter, right? But for a game console, selling a few more for $100 more is not worth that discrepancy.
Oh no, I'm saying less though.
Yeah, but it splits the market, because then you got to develop for that. How many people have this console in comparison to the people that have the cheaper one? Or the
No.
one?
I'm saying the X2, you could get it with half the power without changing the processor mechanics at all. So all the games would work without any change.
Yeah, but they would still have. They would have to develop for the X2, or unless you're saying just let that extra power go to waste.
No, that's what I'm saying. Is there
not,
is no extra power. It's just more power efficient.
Wouldn't that then make it more powerful?
No.
If a chip is more efficient,
Yeah,
and the amount of cycles that it can do,
but that's the thing. It's
you're saying that it can't achieve more with it being more efficient.
No. So it's not more efficient in the sense of, we're getting off topic, but it's not more efficient in the sense of it is able to give you more power. It's more power per size. So the actual size of the chip is smaller, which allows it to operate more efficiently on the amount of power it's given. So instead of pulling 30 watts of power from the battery, it pulls 15.
Okay. So I thought you were saying it's more efficient in the way that ARM chip is more efficient than x82.
No. It's not like that at all. They're both the same system as far as they're both running on ARM based chips. It's just it literally pulls 15 watts of power rather than 30. So you could cut the battery in half from like 9,000 milliamp hours or whatever to 4,500. Save the amount of money you're spending on the battery.
The chip that you're talking about isn't the what was it, Parker or something like that?
No. So the X2 has kind of 2 variants, and this is what I talk about in the article. But one of them is it's the same power efficiency, so it runs on 30 watts, just like the X1 does, but it's twice as strong.
Okay, see, that's the one that I thought you were talking about.
No. The one that's in the article is the
Parker
one that's half the power draw, but the same power as the X1.
Okay.
That's why I'm saying if they do that, cut the battery in half, they could theoretically, I could see them dropping the Switch to like 200.
So you're saying rather than it being like,
but it would run cooler because of that.
No. But I'm past that part. I'm saying, so you're saying basically do a PlayStation 4 Slim thing where the last thing is discontinued,
right? Or the DS Lite, because the DS Lite they cut the DS.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so. Or even like the PS4 Slim now. They didn't rebrand it. It's not even rebranded. It's just the PS4 Slim. I mean, well, PlayStation 4. It's not even PS4 Slim.
It's Slim line. Well, whatever.
Well, whatever it is. They didn't rebrand it.
Right. There's nothing on the box that says Slim line on it.
Yeah. So I get it. I thought you were saying using the other X2 chip, but yeah, I'd agree with that. I think that would make more sense. I think if they were to use the other one, then you get into a whole can of worms and people get upset because they don't have the as powerful version.
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend. And that's one of the things we talked in the article. They could go that route, but I mean, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, because you're gonna get exactly what you said. You're gonna get a whole bunch of people pissed. Like, in that case, wait for whatever's after the X2.
Yeah, get the X3, the one that isn't that's just as power efficient as the other X2, but more powerful.
Yeah.
Get the Parker. Isn't this Parker? I thought it was the Parker chip or something like that. I forgot what it was called. It starts with a P.
They're all like comic book one. I think X2 is Xavier, and it's based on like Pascal.
Yeah. But I'm thinking the more powerful one is like I remember reading specifically that. I know it's the Pascal thing, but we're
going all over the place.
We're going all over the place.
So,
yeah, that's great. And
I think a slimmer in idea and more power efficient model may be the answer to that type of stuff. But what do you think? Leave comments.
Leave the comments.
And we're about to go into the Q&A section, which we only have one question or one comment.
What?
Well, actually, we have more. They're over on the community thing, so I'll read them. But you can read the comment that you have. But I'll read a few of them. I'll read two.
I'll set it off with the Lethal Storm. Lethal Storm says, "What do you think about the possibility of Red Dead 2 coming to Switch? Is the GTA 5 port an example of how Rockstar is keeping games off the Switch?"
I don't think that they're trying to keep games off, per se. I think that we'll see something. I wouldn't be surprised.
Red Dead 2
is 5. I don't think Red Dead's coming anytime soon.
Definitely not. You know, that as far as like within the window when it was coming out for the other consoles, but I could see it happening.
Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked if it came out eventually, but I don't think it's coming out anytime soon. I also think I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Red Dead. If we saw Red Dead, the original one, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw GTA 5 even be one of the games that Nintendo's talking about. Because again, that's another one of those games that is just it's an Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 game. The biggest concern was GTA Online, but who knows? Maybe Switch Online is good enough.
Yeah, I think 5's coming. Every time I hear stuff from Rockstar about that game, it pushes it further in my mind. A couple of months ago, they were talking about how they wanted to hit 100 million sales for the game.
Yeah,
and they're at like 85 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and Switch could easily be that extra 15.
Yeah, because I mean they've said it, and all different types of outlets and like influencers and stuff like that say all the time, like GTA is that game that when you buy a new console, you buy GTA. So people that have a Switch that also bought it on PlayStation 3 and also bought it on PlayStation 4, or maybe bought it on Xbox One, Xbox 360, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation 3 and PC are going to buy it on Switch.
Yep. It's that joke with Tom Howard about the people keep on complaining about us putting Skyrim on everything. Stop buying Skyrim. Like
exactly, that's true. So I think we'll definitely see more from Rockstar. They've said as much. When? Who knows? But let's go through these comments. I was like trying to figure out the order that I wanted to go through them, so I'm gonna read this one first. Seth Campbell 96 says, "So Zero, the retired Smasher, has a video on his channel about how the rage mechanic in Smash Ultimate might be on a toggle. If so, what do you think about that? Which do y'all prefer, rage or no rage?" I like the rage mechanic. Well, my perspective on that might be colored because I use Little Mac and he benefits very much from the rage mechanic.
Yeah, I don't really feel either way about it because I mean it's cool, but I mean I don't ever see it having a huge like
I wouldn't turn it off.
You know, it's never really a huge determining factor on my matches. I think it's cool though, but you know,
I mean,
I think it probably is. I think probably not in terms of like you winning.
Yeah, I mean,
just because the characters that you use don't really benefit that much from it.
Like I personally, I don't go above 90%. No, I'm joking. But no. But I mean,
false.
It's cool. It's a cool added thing.
Well, then again, no, that's true. Probably because you get knocked out at 80.
This guy.
I think you just burned yourself on that one.
No. I'm meaning I stay on stage, and you know. No, but
I think that Bob would benefit from a role like that.
I mean, it's definitely something that should be there. I mean, you do have characters that benefit a lot off that, like Lucario and your Little Max, and you know.
especially Lucario.
Yeah, he's ridiculous.
Because that was already
right, exactly. Then you add on top
you
of
know?
that, it's freaking double stack, double decker, freaking killing people.
That's insane.
Yeah, so
I wonder if they like. Is there like some type of somebody? I know somebody made a video about it. There has to be a video about like the diminishing returns of Rage in tandem with Lucario.
Yeah, he gets all those stab
like,
bonuses, right?
Oh my god. All right. What's the next comment? Where's the next one I'm picking? Did I say 3 more?
I can't remember.
2 more.
I don't know.
I'll read 2 more because we're how long are we at?
Hour and 30.
One more now. I'll read 1 more. 1 more after this one. Or no, 1 more. This is the last one. You get the last comment because I'm gonna save the next. I'm gonna save the rest of them for next week, just so that we build up a buffer. Because usually it's like I ask for comments and then we get them like after the fact. So I was like, yeah, I'd rather have like a buffer. Also, if you're in our Discord, leave them in the question server, so I don't have to ask for them all the time. They're just there. We can just read them. Retro Rush. We didn't read a comment from him, so I feel like it's contractually obligated in the Q&A. That's not true. That was a joke. But anyway, he said, "Where can I apply? I have dreams about making a video over the iconic Fanatix 4 beat."
Yeah,
Which
right.
I use several. Logan uses one.
I think
Maybe
that's
what he's
probably the
talking
one he's
about.
talking about.
Maybe he's just talking about the intro beat.
Maybe he's gonna make a video just over the Action Point theme over, like, just looping throughout. I mean, seriously, like, if you have like cool ideas and stuff, like, make a video and send it to me, and we can talk. That goes to everybody. If you make cool stuff, I'm all about adding people to this operation.
That's how I got here.
Yeah, exactly. If you make something cool and you're passionate about it and you just want to grow in this industry is a stupid word for this, but like in this like thing that we got going on,
Organization.
yeah, organization. But I was saying more so if you want to like build up in like the whole YouTube game,
YouTube
or whatever,
space, YouTube
which
space,
is kind of an industry. Yeah, space sounds like a nicer way to say, or not nicer, less like.
Yeah, it's a cleaner way of
It's a
saying
safe
it.
space.
A safe space. Oh my god. But yeah, if you make cool stuff, and you want to be a part of this, send it. It would be good to like, you know, like look at the voice that we already have. I mean, you watch our videos, you know the type of stuff that we make, and I'm sure you have an understanding of like the type of like topics and stuff that we aim for and stuff like that. So yeah, like if you make cool stuff, show us.
Yeah, all the way. Always into adding new people to the team, like you said. If you guys have a love for you know what we do, and you guys want to add to that, or you guys want to express your creativity, you know, get your thoughts out there, and you know, a more creative way. It's a creative outlet. It's a way you can express yourself, and also you get to make cool things and get people to comment and share their thoughts as well. It's awesome. So if you know aspire to do something like this, then yeah, let us know.
Okay. That's it.
That's all we got.
Bye.
See you guys.
No, we're just ending it like that. Like
Bye.
it's over.
See I guess next week. No, I'm joking. Final thoughts. As always, interruptions. Anyways, this has been a good episode. This has been episode 31. Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.
If you enjoy listening a lot, go to anchor.fm/directly-to-you, or just type directly to you in Google, or go
and check out the website for things that aren't even on the channel.
No, I'm not even done with the pitch.
Check on the
and you go there and you pledge to support this show.
And check out the website.
And check out the website
for extra stuff that's not even on the channel.
That you will never ever see.
And leave a comment on one of the articles.
Terrible. No,
to let Justin know that people are out there and they care about his work.
And they're all not
also,
just
I mean, you'll see
robots from Russia.
Yeah, you'll see the
Right.
you'll see the website probably on Wolf Den.
What?
Did you see that?
No.
You didn't see
No.
that? I gotta show you that. I'll show you it. But yeah, goodbye.
Bye.